Hello there. I see Dakota and Bodie are in the live chat so far. Good to have y'all in here. Hopefully more join soon. I can't tell how many is watching at a time, but I can see you in the live chat. So if you get in here, say hello, say something, let me know you're here. Got a pretty good show worked out tonight. You saw that the buck right there off the start, late December buck. Wondering what you guys would do. I let it roll 2 times. I want to show you a friend of mine. That was 2 years ago that he was watching that buck. He would text me. He would call me. He'd say, hey, what do you think? What should I do? This buck, how old do you think he is? And I was telling him if you get your heart beating pretty good and you want to take him, take him. Rick, good to have you in here. Chesney Price, good to have you here. Jared Moore, how you doing, buddy? Like I say, got lots of deer we're going to show tonight. Got some kids' picks we're going to show. Covey up. Merry Christmas. Yes, it is Christmas week. That's why we're doing it this week here in one day early. Going to do it one day early next week also on a Tuesday. We're going to talk about deer. We're going to give a little bit of a market report. Going to talk about guns and CWD. I've got some clips to play for y'all. I want to get back to that buck right from the beginning. I'm going to show it to you real quick. Let me know how old you guys think it is. Now, this was not one of my deer. This is a friend of mine. And I'm going to give you a hint. This was 2 years ago. How old do y'all think he is? And then I'm going to go right on over to the next scene. There he is shaking. That's an awfully cool video. Not the same day as the first video he sent me. He did this numerous days in a row. The buck was wet right there, shaking himself off. Friend of mine named Jerry Mack was the one hunting that buck. And I kept telling him, you better take him if you can. He kept asking how old. I kept saying at least 4.5. But when you have no history with the buck, other than just a picture, just one video sent to you, you don't know how old he is. It's just a guess anyhow. So this was this year's picture. Remember, this is 2 years later. Same buck, same farm. R&P thought he looked 2 years old. Man, I thought he looked older than that. Moore thinks 3.5. Remember, this was December, folks. And Fear Not Farm, Dakota in there says he's going to say based on the mass, he would have to be very, very strong 4-year-old to think he's a 5-year-old, kind of slender. I'm in agreement. Good buck. Ben and McCoy Edwards are in here now. So there he is this year. Going to go right on over to one more photo. And here my buddy Jerry Mack put him on the ground in archery season this year with his compound bow. Jerry Mack is one of those hardcore compound bow hunters. He loves to draw back on one. Told me that he drew back on him a few times the last couple of years. Actually, he didn't draw back on him in the 23 season, but in the 24 season, he tried to draw back on him several times. It never worked out. One night he come in, he decided just to video him. And Jerry's been talking to me about trying to put together some of his videos, so that might be coming in future weeks. I want to get on over here to some of the kids' harvest. That is Capri. That is Alan Seibel's granddaughter, with a whitetail here in the extended holiday season where you can go out and shoot 2 does. Beautiful girl, beautiful picture with her doe, and Alan said he very well might have that picture blown up for her and put it on her wall. Got another deer coming in here. This is Huxton. That is Dakota, and Shaylee's youngest over there at Stroud, Oklahoma. Check on Dakota and Shaylee's channel, the Fear Not Farm. They put out some hunting videos, bunch of livestock videos as well. Going to move on over here to, this is, you guys can see there, that's a picture I took from, see, I've got some more folks in here. Tom from Arkansas. Thank you for joining, Tom from West Central Arkansas. Been to Arkansas several times, never have hunted deer over there. Used to come over there and coon hunt some, Tom. I'd love to get in on a deer hunt sometime. But you can see this photo right here taken of my TV screen. There the wife's got the Christmas tree up. and that is Jared and Luella. Now Jared's been uploading some videos, putting here on YouTube lately, doing a great job. He's having a lot of fun. It's been him and his kids, his cousin Garrett. They've had a blast. They've been putting videos out there on YouTube. Here is Joe. I don't want to spoil everything that went on with Joe, but 500 and some yards this week. He made a shot on a doe in this holiday season. And go watch Jared's channels. There are lots of folks in here. There's Rob Sims on there from Alene. Nice to see you in here, Rob. But go check out these channels. I want to give you a little snippet here from Jared and Joe.
Hopefully he can, if we get to a point where doe comes out, he can
smack it.
Smack it. There you go. That's good. Hopefully he can, if we get to a point where doe comes out, he can
smack it.
Smack it. There you go. That's good. Hopefully.
I like that there. Joe says we'll whack 'em. So that's just part of what you'll see on the Moore Family channel. Jared putting out some good stuff right there. And I've really enjoyed it. I've watched every one of them. He's put about 8 or 10 out so far. This subscriber thing on YouTube, it's a difficult choice, people. You know, if you've got a channel and you just watch videos, it's one thing. But if you've got a channel and you try and get more people to follow you, it's not like Facebook. You don't send a friend request and they say yes or no. It's you put videos out, YouTube puts them out to the public. If people watch them, they put them out more often. The more that people comment, the more that people hit that thumbs up. Last week I talked, there's a new button on there. It's a hype button. I've been able to see it on some videos, been able to not see it on some, but if you put out a hype for somebody with like under 500,000 subscribers, you can then, it gives them 100 points. It sends that video back out to the public. So it's a tough deal, but I know I've seen Jared in here. I've seen lots of people in here, but some of them that I know put out videos. Dakota with the Fear Not Farm. Rick Hicks was in here. Rick puts out some gun videos, and then Jared Moore. Go check out those channels, but make sure and stick around. We've got more to show you here tonight. Back to the picture on the big screen here on my TV. I was looking at some of my analytics, which I can get them on my phone. It shows how many views you get on each video, how many likes, how many whatever. I get paid a little bit for my videos. I do not on this live stream. I keep the ads off of them, but I get paid some for my videos. It breaks it down and shows me everything. I remember about 2 years ago, about 4 to 6% of my videos were being watched on TV. And I thought, this is an interesting deal I just saw recently. It was like 42 to 44% of my videos are now being watched on TV. About 40-some% right here. The rest was scattered out between a tablet and a computer. Just an interesting deal. Tom says lots of coons. Deer season was slow. Huge acorn crop. Deer didn't seem to move much in the daylight. Rob Sims, you really enjoy the YouTube content. Thank you for being in here, Rob. I enjoy putting it out, and I have a good time on YouTube. We're going to get back to some of these kids. Denton Price, Fairview, Oklahoma. About 125-yard shot, if I remember right, and that was with a .223. Got his buck European mounted. Nice buck there on the Price, young man. Denton Price, Fairview, Oklahoma. Congratulations. Everybody has always got their favorite gun. Okay, today I got one out. Hadn't had it out of the safe. I purchased it a few years ago. It was a used gun. You guys, if you've been seeing some of my latest videos the last few years, I've used a lot of lever action guns, but I haven't pulled out anything big. So I got this one out tonight, the 30-06. That is a Boyd custom stock. It is a Remington 700. It's an older gun. Scoped 700 Remington, and I have taken down, I don't know, in my first 15 years of hunting, I took down a ton of deer with that. I would always get my limit of does, and I didn't always get a buck, but tried to, and if I couldn't find something mature, sometimes they got past me that year. But 30-06, a good round. I'm thinking about taking it and putting it on a doe here in this holiday season. And I had never shot it until today, but I got it zeroed in, and We've got warm weather the next few days, and we're going to be spending time with Christmas and holidays and family. But everybody talking about guns, everybody's got their own favorite. And I'm not saying the 30-06 is my favorite, but I'm putting it out this year. You know, this poor Charlie Kirk, the shooting that happened. And I don't want to get too political on here, but I'm just going to say, in the neck, I've got a lot bigger neck than Charlie. I know what a 30-06 would do with me. I'm fixing to show you, if you're willing to watch a doe video coming up here in a few days, maybe a week on down the road, you'll see what that 30-06 will do going right through both shoulders on the doe. Might make you question the narrative that we sometimes see. Here comes the 6.5. It seems to be a popular choice. This is the Cellier, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Cellier Bellet. That is a soft point. That's what I always shoot. Pretty much most of my rounds are soft point. I was talking to a young lady this week at Lahoma. She works at the feed store, and actually I was talking to another guy, and he mentioned that he got a 6.5 and he showed me a coyote that he had taken. And I was like, have you used that on deer? He's like, oh no, I've heard so many horror stories. Well, I've heard the horror stories. I've never shot a 6.5. I've seen Jonathan was in here. I took Jonathan last year twice. He come up this year and took a doe as well. He used a 6.5 the whole time. About half of my recoveries that I went on this year during gun season were with 6.5s. They're not leaving much blood. They're not. Some of them aren't going all the way through the deer, and they've been tough tracking jobs. So the drones, you know, it's helped me pay for my drone tracking deer. But the 6.5, the young lady there at the feed store, she says, well, I don't know why anybody complains about them. She's been shooting deer with them since 2019, and she just pulls out her phone, showed me mature buck after mature buck after mature buck each year. There was one year she didn't have one. It might have been 2023, but she was getting complete pass-throughs on every one of those deer. She just said, put it right there behind the shoulder or at the shoulder, pull the trigger. She says, I've either dropped them or watched them run 15 to 20 yards or less. So you guys might check out that set of ammo, the 6.5, and I'm going to say it wrong, but it's the Cellier, right up to the top, Sellier, and Bellet, soft point, 6.5. Now, Jared Moore, he's on here saying something about all his kiddos, deer have died due to the 6.5. Yes, they have. If you could collect one gun out of my collection, what would it be, Rob? Oh man, that's a hard one. I usually like the one that's in my hands. But I've got some 300 Win Mags that are all the Senderos. They're Remington 700s. They're scoped really well. The best scopes that I have is on those 300s. I could go anywhere basically in the world and shoot anything I wanted to with them. Big game here in North America, it's going to take care of every one of them. If I was ever lucky enough for my wife to take me on a safari hunt, I could pretty much knock down anything that I wanted to with that one too. Probably if I had to pick 3 guns, Rob, I'd pick a shotgun, probably a 12 gauge. I'd pick a 22 for small game, you know, rabbits, squirrels, stuff like that. And of course that shotgun, you could put a slug in it if you wanted to. You would also be able to take down all kinds of birds, but the 300 Win Mag is probably my favorite caliber. The 30-30 that you guys have seen me use, and the 44 Mag and the Henrys, those are fun. This deer hunting, I'm not going to say it's easy by any means, but when you've taken as many as I have, this video part of it makes it so much more challenging. So I've went with a bunch of the lever action guns. I've got a deep love for them as well. So showed you the bullets or the ammo. I want to mention about the chronic waste here. I follow Dr. Deer. This is on Facebook. I'm going to read what this is, and then I'm going to show you guys or run a couple clips. Bear with me, these clips are about a minute and a half long, but it was on Newsmax. So Dr. Deer, you can read it there too. 2025 was a year of progress, especially in CWD. No, we didn't solve the problem, but here's what was accomplished. First, we learned that Dr. Seabury's work at Texas A&M, that there could be genetic resistance, and Oklahoma decided to develop a breeding program. Second, at least 2 states finally admitted that slaughtering deer was not the solution. We had already learned that after Wisconsin killed 172,000 in the early 2000s, maybe soon the slaughter will cease. The whitetail will solve in their due time. I tell you what, I hate to think about those deer being shot just to be tested. Now, the wildlife department right here in Oklahoma has done that for years as well. They shoot them. They always wait till season's over. They wait until they're bred. They check on the does. Every once in a while they mess up and shoot a buck that'll drop these antlers. But they're testing to see how healthy the deer herd is. I hope that meat is going to somebody to eat, but it sickens me to hear that every year. I did talk to, no, I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then I'm going to tell you what I heard from one of our state workers here.
Welcome to the show. What can you tell us about this disease that is affecting these animals in Oklahoma and other parts of the country, and why are they even called zombie deer?
Let's just start off by saying they're not zombie deer. In fact, I would probably bet my paycheck that, which isn't a lot, but that all the photos that you showed of potentially sick deer were probably not CWD infected at all. This is the transmission of the disease. Deer are immune from masks, and they don't social distance, and that's the problem. Is the wildlife agencies and associations across the country just are not paying attention to the science of genetic resistance. Mm-hmm. We've had CWD that we know of since the 1960s. Oklahoma started testing for CWD in 1999. We've had 2 cases, I believe, of whitetail deer in the state of Oklahoma since the 60s that have tested positive for CWD. So why are we continuing to spend taxpayer dollars to test for a disease that deer populations continue to thrive and increase? And in some states that are the highest prevalence, they have overpopulation of deer. So I don't understand why we're wasting taxpayer dollars.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, you guys heard him, I'm sure. Just to kind of highlight what he had to say, they're asking him questions, and he kind of poked fun of COVID just a little bit. Some of the states don't allow you to feed the deer. They don't want any mineral out or anything like that because they claim the deer comes up there, they lick on stuff, then another deer does, then they spread this disease. I am not an expert by any means. I have no idea about CWD other than what Dr. Deer says, other than what I find on the internet. I did talk to a state worker who told me out of the 10 deer, you guys have probably heard me say, I felt like our deer numbers were down this year. Sims, favorite fan, I'm glad you're in here. Thank you. And Merry Christmas, Tom. Thank you for stopping in here. The Henry 22, by the way, Ben and McCoy, I've got one. Golden Boy, I love it. Back to this CWD. I'm not an expert on it by any means. I'm just sharing with you what's been told. But out of the 10 deer that were harvested in Major County last year, this was after season was over. Like, if I said January, I might be close. It could have been February. All of them had immunities built up in them, and they had a CWD, like a resistance in them. I've got a friend out in the Panhandle who does a lot of hunting, guides hunts, and he had told me he purchased 30 does from pinned up areas to turn loose, and they had all been bred to where they were resistant to CWD. I'm hopeful that some of these places are now realizing shooting them by the hundreds is not the way to end it.
What we're doing is killing deer and testing deer. State agencies across the country are killing wild deer and slaughtering them by the thousands.
And let me follow up with this question. Have there been any human fatalities in any way related to this disease?
CWD, there is no known case in the history of the world that it crossed species into human beings. In fact, we know that CWD came from scrapies in sheep, and it was a government test. Imagine that, government testing diseases that created this CWD narrative out there. And we know through science, through Texas A&M's Dr. Chris Seabury and his studies, he took the entire genome of a white-tailed deer, and he broke it down. And so we actually have a little better solution in deer than we had in sheep, because we have what's called a GVV, a genomic breeding value, and those genomic breeding values will give us a better understanding of what deer are or are not resistant to CWD. Now,
Sounds like classic. I'm from the government. I'm here to help, Representative.
Right.
So, Scott, we appreciate you for coming on, my friend, and keeping this issue close and near and dear. We know it's an important one, particularly those out in rural communities across the country.
All right, guys, you heard what he had to say. I won't. Hopefully, you folks didn't get bored from hearing what they had to say. I thought it was very interesting. That's why I wanted to share it myself. Dakota says Mark Purdy found mineral deficiency could lead to deer being susceptible. I think it was a copper deficiency. He found maybe selenium as well. I hadn't heard that. Dakota, interesting. And yes, Merry Christmas to the Edwards crew. That's all I'm going to show you on that CWD. I do have one more quick thing to say on it. 2 deer found in Oklahoma that tested positive for it. I'm assuming that they're deer that died. I didn't get that part. I know they've got resistance built up in them. Some of them do, at least. 10 for 10 here in Major County this last year that were taken out. And think of all the deer that run out in the highway. They cause somebody to die each year, unfortunately. And then we're worried and we're spending hundreds of thousands and millions. I saw one report this week where over 5 million had been spent in one state, and that was in the 2024-25 time period. Over 5 million had been spent harvesting deer, doing all kinds of research, and it was a crazy amount of deer that they had taken out. Going to get on back to some deer videos here and some hunting reports. This was my brother Sam in Missouri. Popped him a doe right there. He was crossbow hunting, and you're gonna have to zoom in here, or I zoomed in for you. Right underneath that tree, you should see it just about any time there. It rolled around. So Sam took him a doe, and if you heard that sound, I'm going to replay it here one more time. Sounded like a gun. Sam swears up and down it was his crossbow. Here it is in slow motion. I could slowly pick up just a little yellowish colored white right as it entered, but I wasn't able to pick up much more than that. But congratulations, big brother in Missouri. Right here locally, a friend of mine took a whale of a buck. I didn't have time to put video in here from last year, but I had some video of that buck several different times. Last year, his right brow tines was forked and kind of tried to grow up with what looked like a little bit of an extra beam right there coming off the brow tine. Casey did some filming, was on him this year. You're going to see he'll raise his head up here in just a minute. But he is a wonderful deer. Raise your head up there, buddy. You see that right brow tine still big and forked? Can't quite see what all he had going on his left side. The big round rack thing he was this year, Casey was able to get a shot on him. That G2 on this side grew back a little bit. The G2 on the right side, unfortunately, was broke off. But you can see how that right brow tine forks and splits. And as he picks the head up, maybe you can see he grew an extra main beam on his left side also this year. But that's a one-of-a-kind buck. Congratulations, Casey. There's one of the hero pictures with him. And here comes one more. Whale of a deer. Congratulations. That is a great one for sure. Great one for sure, Casey. Really happy for you. Going to move on over. This was a first-time hunter, Lisa Ryan. Lisa said that she had never hunted until this year, and then she had the opportunity to go out. she named who helped her. I didn't write down the names and don't remember. But there you see a picture of all three of them. Said she was hooked the first time she went, even though she didn't harvest anything the first time or two. I think there was even some times that she didn't see some deer. And here you go. You see her bared down on it right there. And there's the shot. Congratulations, Lisa. I hope you get back out there year after year and enjoy your hunting. That's what we do right here in this household. Whatever you do with that meat, enjoy it. Stew, grind it up. Lisa, we grind ours up and then we mix it about 50-50 with sausage. My wife does not eat beef. The boys in the household all do. But my wife doesn't, so that's the way we use a lot of our deer. Of course, we love the steaks. My wife eats the steaks, and we even eat the heart. We eat the liver as well. So, that was my last video of the deer. I do want to show you, I took a video of this. This is a 3-arm attachment. I've got a farm where I've been running some water in a pond. That is part of the bank. There's no trees up close to attach a trail camera on. So I ordered these off of Shop Thermal. Now, I've got one right here in my hand also. I'll show you a little bit of how they go. But Shop Thermal is a company out of Choctaw. So, they was about $35, $36 a piece. I ordered 2 of them. For any of you all that are looking to put a trail cam on a fence post, put it on a tree, just like I did. I put it on a tree root that was going down. You unscrew this top, and then you can move these two whichever way you want, and this right here. The moment you screw this top down tight, it freezes everything where nothing's going to move. So, can loosen it up, turn it all kinds of directions. I know there's lots of hunters that watch this channel. Am I going to do a deer jerky giveaway? I didn't make any deer jerky this year, Sims. I'm going to do a giveaway soon, and it's going to be one of my older cameras. So that's going to be either next week or the first week of January. I'm going to do a giveaway on a camera, and I want that to go to a youth hunter so they can have a camera that's not a cell phone. Back to this. Part of the reason I wanted to show you guys this, I know there's several people on here who are thinking about trying to film some hunts. You get up in a stand sometimes, you don't really know what you're going to hook onto. I'm going to pretend like my finger is part of the stand right there, okay? If you had a GoPro, you could hook this onto your stand right here. You about need 3 arms to run this. You could put a GoPro on this one. You could mount your camera that goes out to view the wildlife on this one. And so my stands, now that is all pretty well just on my finger right now. My stands are, a lot of them have a metal platform that goes around us. So I could screw this onto that metal platform, and then you can put this whichever way you want. I like to have a GoPro on me. I like to have a video camera where I can pan it out across whatever I'm hunting. But once again, Shop Thermal, and they are out of Choctaw, Oklahoma. Sometimes whenever I see things online, you don't know if they're real or not. So I actually called the phone number with it, talked to the man who owns the company. Bought 2 of them. I've got one of them out on a trail camera right now. One of them will probably be used on a deer stand at some time as well, but might be something that you folks might be interested in. You can check it out. So on to the cattle portion. Cattle sales are closed for Christmas. They'll be closed till after Thanksgiving. I can just barely read that, but that gives the market report for Enid Livestock. And I've got to blow it up on my end. They had, out of their cows, 1,204 head of cows and bulls. You can see over to the left, it shows where they came from. Over to the right, shows how many pounds they weighed, and then dollars per 100 pounds, $180. So that'd be $1.80 a pound. and that's right up there at the top. If you go down to the Packer cows, those were bulls up top, from $1 to $1.86 per pound, weighing one side or the other, 2,000 on the bulls. Packer cows, $1.59, looks like the cheapest, clear up to $2 a pound. 1,200 pound cow, $2 a pound, that's 2,400 bucks right there. And those cows are all going to the Packers. They're going to be your McDonald's, stuff like that. The bred cows, a little bit lower there. Kremlin, Oklahoma, $3,900. Alene, Oklahoma, $4,000. Doesn't say how far bred those cows was, so I don't know, but if you go on down lower, 3 and 4 year old cows from Carrier, 5 to 6 months old, bring $3,600. 8 and 9 year old cows bring $2,950 right below there. Says 4 to 6 year old bred cows, $3,200 to $4,000. The pairs were in the $4,000 range as well. I'm going to go right on over to the feeder cattle. Feeder cattle report, they sold 1,940 head there at Enid this week. Heifers are over on the left. Looks like there's some come from Ames, weighed 310, bring 550. That's at the very top. They probably were not weaned if they came straight off the cow. There's some from Gultry, two layers down there, 2 layers down. Gultry, Oklahoma, 75 days weaned. They were red Angus, bring $5 a pound, weighed 400. That's $2,000 a head. I'm going to go down towards the bottom. Kingman, Kansas, somebody brought some down and sold. Almost weighed 900 pounds, bring $305 a pound. 2,700 plus right there. If you go back up about 5 notches, that gets to Alene, Oklahoma, 784 pounders, bring 3 1/4. If we jump on over to the steers, lightweight steers at the top, straight off the cow, bring $602.50, $6 a pound. They weighed 361. We move on down to about midways. Isabella, weaned, black, 620 pounders, bring 4 1/4 a pound. Wrapping up a lot of dollars right there. 2,600 range, I believe. Go clear down to the very bottom. The last 2 915 pounders bring $322.50. And then the Gultry cattle, 967, bring $310 a pound, or like I say often, $310 for every 100 pounds. That might be an easy way to figure it as well. I'm going to get over here and read some of the comments. Do I think prices will be good coming out of New Year's? Okay, I did want to mention that. Packer cows, since there's nothing going on the next couple weeks, I don't remember a time in my life whenever we come to January and I was at the sale barn that those Packer cows and bulls weren't higher in January compared to how they were in December, because things are shut down for 2 weeks. They need them, okay? And we're in short supply anyway. I think I already answered the deer jerky giveaway. Don't have any deer jerky, but I do have a used camera that I plan on giving away. And I would like that to go to a youth hunter. I'm going to think about it the next week or so and probably come up with some way that some of you youth hunters that are on here, or even your parents, you know, I realize not every kid has a YouTube channel, will have a way that the youth can maybe put in a number or something. And the camera, it's an older one. I've got it on a charger. I bought a new battery for it and everything, making sure that it was still working right, and it does. I went outside and did some videoing with it. It does not do an MP4 like most of my cameras do right here, but it takes a little flash card or memory card, SD card, and then you can pop it in your computer or whatever and view what you've done. It's not as up to date as these newer cameras that I've got, but it worked. I videoed several of my boys' hunts whenever they were younger. If I wouldn't have done that, that was back before cell phones. And this camera, its audio is not going to be as good as a cell phone, but its video is probably better quality than a cell phone. So I will be giving that away. They claim the deer die progressively, says Dakota. Younger and younger, yet the deer are so resilient and they manage to survive states severely culling and the disease both. Yep, I agree, needs to be left alone. Great concern in the Wildlife Department actually funding the population control of wildlife via diseases. Yep. Okay, getting back up here. I see that a few of them had already checked out, had to leave. Once again, I thank you guys for checking in, everybody. Have a Merry Christmas. Hit that thumbs up button. If you guys don't mind, share it with somebody. Maybe have some more coming up next week. We're going to start on Tuesday as well, just like I did here, because New Year's Eve, all you party animals, I'd rather you be able to party and watch my show. So Tuesday, I'll have the show next week, then we'll get right back to normal Wednesdays. I see there's still been some people taking some nice deer throughout the state, late season, if we take the does out of it, because the does are pretty fat. The bucks run all over the place in the month of November. Kept looking for does to breed in December. So they're thin, they're run down, they want something good to eat, a green field, or if you're a corn hunter, sit around a corn pile, the bucks are back around them. If you are hunting the next few days and you're a bow hunter, make sure you wear your orange. Gun season's back on, and good luck to everybody. Merry Christmas, spend time with your family, have a blast, and make lots of memories. Thank you all for